The COVID-19 pandemic has devastated the live music industry, but we're all working really hard to help those who really need it. Therefore, we're donating 50% of proceeds generated from our show to help other artists, musicians, and production personnel who really need it. Please join us and consider giving what you can to this worthy cause. No amount is too small. Thank you for your support.
A big part of amplifying my feeling of unmotivation was seeing other people and other artists still being able to sustain a level of connection with their audience. And I think that had kind of a negative effect on me.
Feeling angrier than I should. I don't care what it means. I should be over it soon. Over it soon. Over it soon. Over it soon. Over it. This time, with numbers scrawled on the back of someone else's head. I don't care what it seems like. I should get over it soon. Over it soon. Over it soon. Over it soon. Over it.
Hi, I'm Krost, and this is my story. So growing up, I was born and raised in the San Gabriel Valley. kind of elementary into middle school, I started getting into listening to a lot of music, listened to pop punk as kind of the main genre. I think in middle school was when YouTube started becoming a big thing. And so I remember going on there and seeing artists like, I think one of the first one was like David Choi, and seeing this Asian guy kind of being quirky on the internet and him having this very meaningful community of listeners. And so I think that was kind of novel and kind of pivotal in me realizing that, or pushing the limits of what I thought I could do as an artist. And so I think that was the first moment where I was like, okay, maybe I could try to be cool like David Choi or like those YouTube artists. And a lot of them played acoustic guitar. And so in middle school, my uncle had a guitar laying around the house, and that was the first time I asked him, like, okay, can I play your guitar? And like within a couple months, I had bought that same guitar off of him, and I learned and Google searched how to play every single song I knew on acoustic guitar. And that is when I started posting covers of my own on YouTube. So in 2012, I majored in psychobiology at UCLA. During that time, I was kind of in the hub of entertainment. So Los Angeles, I had very easy access to a lot of live shows and live music, live concerts, things like that. And I became kind of hypnotized or obsessed, kind of addicted with that experience of a live concert. I remember feeling very seen going to these concerts and kind of less isolated in experiencing music live. And I think there's a very beautiful relationship that exists between artist and kind of listener. That is a very personable one, in which the artist kind of allows for this vulnerability through their music and their writing, and opens that up for anybody really in the audience to kind of pick up on and kind of shape and interpret for their own. And in that way, that exchange is equally, I think, vulnerable for both people. Eventually it drove me to want to be on the other end, kind of the creator of that experience of being able to create something so meaningful that somebody else could kind of latch onto and take for their own and be meaningful in their own kind of way. And so that was the push for me to really transition from just covering other people's music to really wanting to find my own voice and create and express truly from myself.
I don't really wanna die, but if I do, I hope it's a great big surprise. I don't really wanna die, but if I do, I hope it's a great big surprise. Am I saying no to love? Late November, Thursday, we left the bar so we wouldn't see each other crying. Walking close but not too close, saying why this thing is dying. Dying, it's already dead on the vine. I don't really wanna die, but if I do, I hope it's a great big surprise. I don't really wanna die, but if I do, I hope it's a great big surprise. If I'm worth a better love, how come I dance around the line? Play the song we used to sing and sit and cry. Never felt so good to hurt, saying why this thing is dying. Dying, it's already dead on the vine. I don't really wanna die, but if I do, I hope it's a great big surprise. I don't really wanna die, but if I do, I hope it's a great scared to settle down. Racked my brain for a reason I knew I wouldn't find. Is it wrong to call you up, saying why this thing's done? Dying, it's already dead on the vine.
So after songwriting for a while, I graduated UCLA and started attending UCI, where I got my master's for teaching. And during that time, I kind of continued just to try to write as much as possible every day, tried to hone in on kind of those songwriting skills. I eventually realized that this was something that I wanted to do kind of more intentionally. And so after a couple months of like researching home studio setups and watching a lot of YouTube videos, Googling comparison, also like watching hours of like this mic versus this mic, like which one is better, I eventually kind of took the plunge and invested some resources into setting up my own at-home DIY kind of studio for recording. So in 2017, I released my first full-length album titled Doldrums. And that was everything was self-produced, self-recorded. So throughout the process of recording Doldrums, there were quite a few points of frustration. So one key example is like I would listen to what I created and compare it to what was on the radio. And there's this very noticeable discrepancy between the two. And I remember feeling very frustrated trying to figure out, okay, why exactly that is. But I don't think there was ever a moment that I kind of doubted or thought about giving up or quitting or stopping the project. I think my want to express or my need to express that music to its fullest extent was such a strong driving force that any sort of frustration was easily kind of overcome.
Stay close.
Hello, I'm John Garcia, owner of Diversity Wireless Partners. We are located across from Walmart on East 2nd Street in the city of Beaumont, California. We, along with AT&T, are here to serve our community's wireless, broadband, and TV needs. We invite you to come in, get to know us, and see what we have to offer. We have some great promotions and great selections of phones, tablets, and services to choose from. At AT&T, we look forward to meeting you and providing you with excellent service. Thank you.
So after I graduated UC Irvine, I got hired as a full-time teacher, and it kind of opened a lot of free time for me. So I would go to work, and then afterwards have this chunk of time where I didn't have to worry about doing any readings or things like that. And I was able to get into this sort of routine in which I'd go to work, come home, and be super excited with this to-do list of things to do in relation to music. So like create this, post this, or things like that. So overall, 2019 was a really great year in terms of feeling very validated as a musician and artist, and feeling like I had some upward growth throughout the whole year. So I got to co-produce and co-write the Feel Alive EP with my friend Ricky Sampson. I did my first official music video for the song Sting, and started playing and continued to play a lot of shows. And so there were all these accomplishments that I felt really good about, and started to feel like, okay, I'm finally building kind of this community that is my own, and felt this kind of upward growth that was sustained all throughout 2019. I had 2 shows lined up for March and April, and was kind of riding off of 2019 successes, and those were pretty quickly canceled within mid-March as everything was kind of closing down. And so that really led me to sit and kind of self-reflect and self-assess, like what is truly my connection to music, and what do I want out of it, and asking myself questions about that. I started feeling like the music community was becoming limited or kind of narrowed, in the sense that I felt constrained as an artist in terms of how I could connect with my listeners or connect with people meaningfully in a way that was not in person. So I started to feel pretty stuck and stagnant, like I wasn't growing at all. And at some points even feeling like music was no longer fulfilling, like there was no point to it, and I was no longer getting enjoyment from it. It was no longer an outlet that I felt I could use as authentic expression. And so there was just a long time of months of not creating anything new, and not really wanting to for a while. So as I was experiencing this unmotivation, I think I was still on social media, and a big part of amplifying my feeling of unmotivation was seeing other people and other artists still being able to sustain a level of connection with their audience, and still recording, still creating, still being productive. And I think that had kind of a negative effect on me, in me comparing myself to them and trying to figure out, like, why can't I also sustain that? I think it brought up a level of guilt and kind of shame in not being able to sustain that level of productivity with a bit of extra time now with COVID hit. And so by comparison, that really amplified my negativity in relation to creating music.
Watch your step when you cross through the door, 'cause my heart's on the floor. You wouldn't guess, but when you left, I finally admitted it. It hurts, but I convinced myself that if I tell myself it doesn't, then it wouldn't, it won't. It's laid out, so I stayed out. Tell me what you like, so I'll know where to change. Tell me what you want, I wanna make it okay. Tell me what you like, so I'll know where to change. Tell me what you want, I wanna make it okay. It hurts, but I convinced myself that if I tell myself it doesn't, then it wouldn't, it won't. It's laid out, so I stayed out. Tell me what you like, so I know where to change. Tell me what you want, I wanna make it okay. Tell me what you like, so I know where to change. Tell me what you want, I wanna make it okay. It's laid out. It's laid out. Oh, 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 It's not that I don't believe in love, I just know I got a long way to go. Go, go. Keep chasing happy endings, but look up, you look down, it'll close you off. Tell me what you like, so I know where to change. Tell me what you want, make it okay. Tell me what you like, so I know where to change. Tell me what you like, make it okay.
So in October, I was contacted by Character Media to get to be a part of this character concert series, and that was kind of a big opportunity for me. And so the first thing I did, I kind of went into autopilot mode and quickly just like messaged a couple of my friends and asked if they wanted to play with me. And so these are friends that I really trusted in terms of music, and we've played together, we've collaborated together. And so I reached out to them and they quickly said yes. And I kind of had a full band set up, ready to go. I remember kind of the first rehearsal as a band. We were in the rehearsal space, and I remember thinking to myself that that was the first time that I ever heard any of my music live and simultaneous. So prior to, I would track things individually, play it back within the studio, kind of listen back, but that was the very first time that all of these components were being played live and out loud at the same time. And so that was a very humbling experience for me, because I felt like that was the truest or most purest form that my music has ever taken. And so that kind of also fueled my drive to make the performance really a good one. And it reignited kind of my love for music and helped me realize that, okay, this feels right, and this expression is very meaningful to me, and kind of helped me make that realization. So with that full band setup, it really got me genuinely excited again for music. So I started thinking back to all the unfinished demos that I had on my desktop and like the songs that I wanted to release prior to, whereas starting from like March when COVID hit, I kind of brushed them to the side and thought that these would go nowhere. So in rehearsing with that full band was kind of reignition of that genuine excitement. So started planning things in my head, like I want to release this in 2020, 2021, kind of having a plan moving forward that involved music and creating music.
This is the moment. Start it all over. This is the moment. Start it all over. This is the moment. Cleanse it out. Say hello. Start it all over. Hold on to your people. This is the moment to tire out the ebb and flow. Start it all over. A flicker in the night. Resuscitate me from inside. Don't tell me how. I watch you peek with my head on the concrete. You don't owe it to anyone to pretend to be alright. You don't owe it to anyone to be afraid, feel alive. You don't owe it to anyone to pretend to be alright. You don't owe it to anyone to be afraid, feel alive.
I think one of the main lessons I learned was to not be afraid to dream big. I think there's some fear or some scariness associated with having large dreams or kind of things that seem unattainable, and have actionable plan, like I want to do X, Y, and Z to get to that goal. And so that was a key first step for me, and just realizing what it was that I wanted in terms of performing with the full band and continuing this upward growth and mobility. Another thing that I kind of learned and allowed myself to do was recognize that it's okay to take a break. Within music, also within anything that you do, I think we are set on always working, and productivity is kind of associated with this like always on the go type mentality. And I think when you allow yourself to take a break, you can reset and also acknowledge that the people who care about you and kind of connect with you are going to be patient with you, so you can allow yourself to do the same. One of the key things that I'm moving forward with is knowing that collaboration and working with other people, whether that is through somebody listening to my music or somebody playing with me on stage, that collaboration is kind of a key process for reflection as well as excitement personally for me. So if I ever get into kind of a lull or slow season again, I think an easy step is to reach out to somebody else and kind of get their take on it. Everybody kind of has their own fresh ideas that they're entering with. And so in being able to connect with others and collaborate, I think there's this beautiful connection and this beautiful shared purpose and goal that allows for continued creation, whether that is music or beyond. I want to thank Character Media for this opportunity to tell my story. Thank you for watching and listening and for supporting artists like myself. You can follow me on Instagram at Krost and listen to my original music on Spotify, SoundCloud, Bandcamp, all the streaming platforms. Thank you.
2, 3, 4. Now that I'm older, been trying to understand how I got so caught up in breaking my stare on the longer hand. So take a little time, hold him a little tighter, 'cause what we thought was static was just slowly passing by.